Good afternoon. I'm Monisa Klein here at the GBTA broadcast studio here in Dallas, Texas. And joining me this afternoon is Mr. Reggie Aggarwal, who is the founder and CEO of Cvent. Reggie, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us and sharing some things happening at Cvent. So you just had your own customer and industry conference a couple of weeks ago. I heard all about it last night. I was with some buyers and they were there. They said it was fantastic, called Connect, Cvent Connect. So what were some of the highlights? What did you see and hear from the attendees?
Yeah, look, so it was exciting because it was first, we had about 3,500 people. It was in Vegas. And it was exciting because we're starting to get close to, what we peaked in 19. So the in-person component, it was starting to get back, which was great. I think another interesting thing is, of course, it's the first, non-pandemic impacted event that we've had as our customer conference compared to last year. So I'll tell you, it was just tangible excitement, kind of like what you're feeling at GBTA right now. A lot of excitement, the feedback from all the meeting planners that were there, or that, they're in full business. As a matter of fact, they're in some degree over-indexing on in-person. And, it's amazing how, candidly, Melissa, how virtual just kind of went down.
Right.
Pretty dramatically. And it was a really interesting how, we actually were saying to people to make it, inclusiveness could also include getting people who can't afford to travel and expanding your program. But overall, it was fantastic. A lot of interest and excitement in terms of people coming back, and we're getting back to the power of human connection.
Yes. And hopefully one day soon we won't be referencing back to 2019 levels, right?
I agree with you. That's going to probably take another year.
Yep.
But I think
we're there.
we're almost there.
Almost there.
Yep.
So in June, you went private again with Blackstone. So talk a little bit about that. How are things looking?
Sure.
Where are you going? What about this new partnership? And what does that mean for the industry?
Yeah, so, we were a public company. We'd been public, before that as well, but we were public, and then we ended up going private with Blackstone. I look at it as a partnership. And, just quick background for the audience who doesn't know who Blackstone is. Blackstone is generally considered the largest private equity firm in the world. A lot of people say they invented the industry, but they're, really known to be great partners. And I'll tell you a few things why, for us, it was such a big deal. The things that, we care about most was the first thing is they knew our industry. So, they, for example, owned Hilton. And in 2014, they spun them off as a public company. So they're, they know the hotel space. They still own hundreds of companies. I should say hotels. They also own a lot of other assets in the space. They owned Encore, which is considered the largest AV company for hotels and meetings and events. They own a large trade show management company based in Europe. So the point is they have a lot of assets in the space. They came into this educated, and I think they could really give us a different perspective. But the biggest thing I really liked about them beyond that is that they have their kind of their tagline is that they invest in companies that are durable, and they really plan to continue to invest for the long term. And we believe there's a huge opportunity, a lot of things that are changing with technology transformation, and we're excited to have them as a partner because we certainly weren't lacking in capital and kind of a different perspective with all their viewpoints in our space. And so that's why we're most excited about it.
Yeah. You mentioned durable. That's interesting because that obviously means you're viable, right? And it's good for
I hope
you guys.
So.
It's good
That's what we told them at least.
Yeah. Well, good for you guys. So you've mentioned the golden age of events several times over the last few years when you first introduced the concept in 2020. What do you think that means now about our industry and what's ahead?
Molly said it's funny. So let me describe what happened. It was in August of 2020. I was in a small studio. I think it was Chantilly, Virginia.
Okay.
Small, and everyone was wearing masks. It was very few people there because it was in the middle of the pandemic. And during my keynote, we had, if you believe it, over 30,000 people virtually watching it, which was our largest than we've ever had in our history. And basically I said, hey, we're gonna enter a golden age of events. And this is again the middle of pandemic in August of 2020. And people first thought this guy's crazy. And I said it though because if I looked at other industries, technology was transforming them for a positive. Our industry, unfortunately, we all know got crushed in 2021. But if you look at the rest of many industries, they were blooming. Technology companies were soaring. And so our industry tended to be a little less technology savvy, but that wasn't even it. It was the fact that our industry just came to a stop. But we knew once this pandemic passed by that we would have a real renaissance period. So what I talked about in the Golden Age events, I'll give you 3 or 4 points. Point number 1 is we all began to appreciate the value of an in-person event, and it was more than we've ever appreciated. Before, we would complain about flying somewhere, say, oh, another travel event, I got to go to this.
Right.
And then people are like, oh, I yearn for those days where I could travel.
You celebrate it, right?
You celebrate it. And so
it.
sometimes it's good to ground people again how important that connection is. And an event doesn't have to be corporate. It could have been just going to a birthday party. And so that people started realizing how important events and meetings are to their life, and how powerful they are in connecting us. The second thing is that the digital transformation just took, there was a McKinsey study that said what should have taken a decade happened in basically 6 months. So we're a software company, a tech company. That transformation we knew would start leveraging technology. Why is that important? Because it just simplifies everything. It allows you to measure ROI. I think events have very high ROI, but if you look at the way people talk about them, it was hard to describe it and measure it. Now there's more measurement towards it. Leveraging technology is really helpful to me to proving why in-person events are good. And the last thing was the virtual events. And I'll just give you an example. At Cvent Connect, we had 10,000 people register, about 3,500 in person, 6,500 virtually. And the reality is that meeting became more important to us as an organization, so we spent more money and did it because there's other people that are watching it that aren't just there. So the point is it expands the power of an event, which is good for the industry because then you do more events. And if you get virtual to watch it, it's great. It justifies having the event. So why is it a golden age? It's because people are embracing technology, people are appreciating events more than ever, and you can expand the importance of an event because now you can have multiple types of audiences and reach people you've never reached before. So it just makes your event more important. And when you add them all together, that's why I believe we're going to be at the golden age of events. And I'll just tell you already this past year that we had our event 2 weeks ago, when you look at it compared to where we were in 19 at our peak, it's already a higher ROI because of the amount of in-person and virtual that came.
Interesting.
And so then what it does is it allows you to create a foundation to keep expanding. But I will say one thing, there's no dispute that the foundation of our industry is in-person events.
Yes.
And it just came roaring back just like the virtual came roaring. The in-person came roaring back just as fast when things just started to calm down with the pandemic. So that's why I believe we're in the golden age of events. And if you look at GBTA right now, I think this is a golden age. And it's just the excitement is just like I haven't seen before.
5,200 people strong here, which is
really, and they're really excited and engaged.
Yes, I agree. Well, Reggie, congratulations.
Well, thank you,
It
Molly.
is so exciting to hear all that's happening at Cvent and all that you've got going on. It just really, really energizing.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today.
Well, I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm Monisa Klein here at the GBTA Broadcast Studio.